Hello, this is Marsha Chan, and this is Organize and Clarify Your Ideas, Part D of Chapter 11 on Conjunctions and Transitions. This part is on editing conjunctions and transitions. Study the errors and pay attention to the areas that you make mistakes in, and try to edit them out. The first is an example of the placement of a transition. Example: pack animals tend to have more sophisticated systems of communication. To, however, say that they use language is an exaggeration. Good ideas, pretty good structure. However, there's a word order error. Let's change to however, say, to however, to say. Notice the punctuation after the first independent clause, that's IC1, put a semicolon, and then however, our transition, is followed by a comma before the second IC2. Example number 2 is about the choice of transition. Here's the example. Timeouts are a common form of discipline in human society. Like, wild horses will also isolate a disobedient colt from the herd for a short period of time. The word like is the wrong word. Word choice error changes to likewise. Since this begins a new sentence, capital L, and then a comma after the transition. Number 3, use of conjunction plus transition. Example: collaboration is highly valued in human society, but it is sometimes in conflict with our sense of independence, however. You see the word but? That is a coordinating conjunction. If we use a coordinating conjunction, we don't also want to use a transition. Just use one of them. Suppose you decided not to use but. Could you use however instead? Yes. The only thing you need to do is change society comma to society semicolon. Omit but. And then you can keep the comma however at the end of the sentence. Number 4, punctuation. Wolf families usually include extended family members. For example, a mother, father, and an uncle may share in raising wolf cubs. That little mark is a comma. To put a comma between two independent clauses in English writing is a comma splice error, CS, comma splice error. Instead of a comma, let's change that to a semicolon. Number 5, parallel structure. He might have found a new job and might have changed his email address. Let's not use the auxiliary twice. Just use it once. There we go. D1, editing. In this exercise, you need to read each sentence carefully and find and correct the errors in the sentences. Then check your answer with the answer key. Beyond the sentence into the paragraph, beyond the paragraph into the essay, showing relationships between supporting ideas. Conjunctions and transitions are used to add supporting ideas to paragraphs. They act as signposts, indicating where one idea finishes and a new idea begins. Let's look at this example. In examining our most familiar domesticated animals, it is easy to see differences in their social systems. Dogs are instinctively pack animals, and they are conditioned to recognize emotions in other dogs and in their owners. For example, a dog who perceives that his owner is angry will change its expression to one of sorrow or even guilt. On the other hand, cats tend to be more emotionally independent when it comes to the feelings of the group. Like dogs, cats will show affection to their owners, but they are less affected, one way or another, by their owner's emotions. All right, so let's go back and see the differences between the way conjunctions are used and transitions are used. Conjunctions are often used to connect ideas when they are closely related to the same subject. Transitions are often used to connect ideas when the supporting information changes to a new idea. Transitions are frequently used in this way to introduce a new idea at the beginning of a paragraph. Keep all of this in mind as you create your paragraphs and essays. D2, choosing conjunctions versus transitions. Now you'll see a set of sentences, and you need to rewrite each set of sentences as a paragraph. Use conjunctions and transitions to connect and introduce the ideas. Make any additional changes necessary. For example, in number 1, we have, in the 1980s, business managers began recognizing that competition was hurting productivity, period. They sought ways to encourage collaboration, period. Personality testing was introduced to help employees understand themselves and each other, period. Workshops on conflict resolution also became popular in large companies and organizations, period. Now let's see if you can join them together. Here's a start. In the 1980s, business managers began recognizing that competition was hurting productivity, so they sought ways to encourage collaboration, period. All right, so that's one possible way to join the first two sentences into a compound sentence using a conjunction. It's also possible to write, competition was hurting productivity, semicolon, therefore, they sought ways to encourage collaboration. Now you continue writing, connecting these sentences together using conjunctions and transitions. Then check your answer with the answer key. Vocabulary notes. Point of view. Indicating opinion or viewpoint. You can use adverbs as transitions to show your opinion or reaction and to qualify what you're saying. These words express various degrees of negative or positive reactions or opinions about the sentences they introduce. For example, clearly, coincidentally, fortunately, incredibly, ironically, strangely, unexpectedly, and so on. Don't forget, look in the back of your book on page A22 to the top of A23 for a really useful reference list of point of view transitions. You'll need them in exercise D3, indicating point of view. So complete the sentences with words from the box. More than one answer may be possible, and certainly there are other words and phrases that are not in the box that also could be put into these blanks to make the sentences read more smoothly. and indicate the relationships. In the next section on writing, here's a tip. Organize and clarify your ideas. It's important to give examples and evidence in your writing, and it's equally important to organize these ideas and present them in a way the reader will understand. Using conjunctions and transitions can help you organize your ideas, avoid redundancy, and make your intentions clear. Your professor may ask you to write a short essay of 150 to 175 words. Compare different ideas, opinions, and attitudes about your topic. Give examples from your experience. Then, use the writing checklist to check your work. Here are some suggestions. What are the advantages and disadvantages of living alone? How can living alone or living with other people affect your mood or behavior? Is living alone something that is appropriate for you? Why or why not? Humans have a complex relationship with meat. What are 2 or 3 different attitudes towards meat consumption that you know of? Why do some people choose not to eat meat? What are the consequences or effects of eating or not eating meat? Evaluate several pets and their characteristics. What are their positive and negative features? What sort of pet would be the most appropriate for you? How would it fit with your lifestyle and personality? Here's the writing checklist. When you're writing, please reflect on your ability to use conjunctions and transitions by answering the questions. Did you check to make sure your conjunctions and transitions express the relationship that you intended? Did you use conjunctions to connect closely related supporting ideas? Did you delete repeated subjects and auxiliary forms after conjunctions? Did you use transitions to show a shift to a new idea? Did you check for punctuation? Check your writing before you post it. Observe the due date. Read and respond to at least 2 classmates who don't yet have responses. For your further information and improvement, you can go beyond the classroom. Here are some extra writing topics. People resolve conflicts in different ways. Here's a paragraph that asks you to think about conflict resolution. Hunting is a popular sport. You can write an essay about hunting. Physical environment. Does your physical environment affect your interaction with others? Does it affect your creativity or ability to solve problems? You can write a short essay about your physical environment. This is the end of Chapter 11, Coordinating Conjunctions and Transitions.